Hello everyone. Today, I'm back to share another chapter of the story of Tusan. I hope you all enjoy watching this video. In the months after losing everything, Sun's life became nothing but emptiness. Once a proud man, confident because he was loved and had a peaceful home, he was now just a shadow of his former self. Debt piled up. Creditors came knocking on his door again and again. Every sound outside made him flinch. At first, he tried to hide. Later, he could only drown himself in cheap liquor, trying to forget the world. The small, damp rental room smelled of alcohol and smoke. His trembling hand poured another glass. The burning liquor scorched his throat but couldn't wash away his shame. On the table lay a faded photograph, their wedding picture, back when Tusan still smiled so tenderly. He gently touched her face in the photo, voice hoarse. If only I hadn't been so foolish that day, if only I had cherished you more. After Lin left with all the money and papers, Sun finally realized he had been nothing more than a pawn in her game. She had used him, made him believe that Tusan betrayed him, and pushed him to throw his innocent wife out of their home. Now Lin had vanished without a trace, leaving him with debts and a heart full of guilt. The more he drank, the more he thought of Tusan. Each time he closed his eyes, he saw her quietly packing her clothes on that rainy night, hearing his shouts without uttering a single word in defense. That image haunted him, bringing tears like a helpless child. I was wrong, Tusan. I was so wrong. Tusan's former mother-in-law sat silently on the porch, silver hair glinting under the dim light. The once lively house was now as silent as a graveyard. Since Lin disappeared with all their savings, the old woman had become a different person, no longer harsh or proud. Her vacant eyes stared at the road where Tusan used to wheel her bicycle to the market every morning. She whispered shakily, "Now I finally know who was true, and who was false." Sun's younger sister placed a cup of tea in front of her. "Mother, you're thinking about Sister San again, aren't you?" The old woman nodded, eyes blurring with tears. "If you see her, tell her to come home. She and Sun aren't divorced yet. I regret it so much." Her voice trembled. "I was blind back then. I listened to others and wronged that poor girl. Now the house is gone, and my son is no longer himself. I just wish I could see Tusan once more, to say I'm sorry." The wind rustled through the areca trees, scattering dry leaves like sighs of time. Sun staggered through the rain, his body heavy with drink. The yellow streetlights stretched his shadow across the narrow alley, the same alley he and Tusan once walked together to the market, now strange and cold. He stopped before their old house. The wooden door was shut tight, covered in moss. He touched it, the wood was cold, like his heart. He sank to the wet ground, eyes fixed on the darkened window. His lips murmured faintly, "Tusan, I know you'll never forgive me, but if there's another life, I won't ever let you cry again." The rain poured harder, mixing with his late tears. In the sound of rain, faint footsteps passed behind him and stopped. But Sun didn't turn around. He was too tired, too broken, and far too late to start over. While Sun drowned in liquor and darkness, Tusan's life began to glow with new light. Since the day CEO Hoai stepped in to help her, warmth had slowly returned to her heart. He never made grand promises, he simply showed up when she needed someone. A bunch of leftover greens at the stall, a heavy basket on a rainy day, a cup of hot coffee in the morning, small things that moved her deeply. Their relationship grew slowly, quietly, but with the steady depth of a hidden stream healing her scars. Hoai, calm and mature, understood her pain and never pushed. He only said, "Whenever you're ready, I'll be here." To Tusan, those few words were a promise of peace. One afternoon, as the sun faded over the market road, CEO Hai's mother happened to pass by a small market. She overheard vendors talking about a woman named Tusan. She's so kind and hardworking. Raises her child alone and still manages well, admirable woman. Curious, the lady followed a narrow alley and stopped before a modest house, where a young woman was watering the garden. Her gentle face, weary but warm, struck a chord of familiarity. When Tusan looked up and smiled politely, the woman froze. It was the same girl in the photo Hai had kept in his wallet for years. The photo he'd quietly looked at whenever he missed her. The mother said nothing at first, simply sat on the porch, sipping the tea Tusan offered, observing the tidy, cozy home. Tusan spoke about her struggles, her little son, and a kind man who had often helped her, unaware that this man was the woman's own son. Hearing that, the mother's eyes softened. She gently took Tusan's hand. "You're a good girl. Any mother would be lucky if her son met someone like you." She neither judged nor opposed, only saw in Tusan a rare kindness that no wealth or status could replace. From that day on, she quietly supported Tusan, sending small gifts, asking people to help her business run smoother, all without telling Hai. And each time her son returned home, calm and quietly happy, she would smile. Because she knew, true love doesn't need to be forced. It only needs to be nurtured with kindness and faith. One evening, when Hai returned home, his mother looked at him intently and asked softly, "Do you still keep that photo?" Hai seemed surprised for a moment, then nodded. "Yes, I still do." She smiled gently, her eyes filled with quiet depth. If it's fate, no matter how late it comes, it will always find its way back. He looked up and saw understanding in his mother's eyes, not the disapproval of years past, but acceptance, calm and warm. That same night, Tusan sat by the window, gazing out at the narrow street. From afar, the beam of Hai's car lights shone across her porch. He arrived with a small bag, a few gifts his mother had sent for that kind girl at the market. Tusan couldn't help but laugh softly, her heart swelling with a mix of sweetness and emotion. Across the street, Hai looked at her and said quietly, "I just hope you won't feel lonely anymore." And beneath the gentle moonlight, Tusan understood, some people come not to replace the past, but to help you believe in the future. In the days that followed, Tusan felt lighter than she had in years. Ever since meeting Hai's mother, a weight had lifted from her chest. The woman was kind, serene, full of compassion. She asked nothing about the past, made no judgments, only looked at Tusan with understanding eyes. "You're a good girl," she said softly. "I only wish my son had met someone like you a little sooner." The words made Tusan's heart tremble. She smiled through glistening eyes, her heartbeat quickening. After all the storms, she finally allowed herself to choose happiness, simple, genuine happiness. That afternoon, on her way home from the market, she carried a basket of fresh vegetables and a few things Hai's mother had sent, her heart filled with gratitude. She didn't know that, behind her on the small street, Sun, her ex-husband, was silently watching. That day, Sun had spotted her at the market by chance. She still looked as humble as ever, wearing a plain blouse, her hair neatly tied, and that gentle smile. But her eyes were different now, the eyes of someone who had learned to stand tall after being broken. Sun froze. Regret, jealousy, and bitterness twisted inside him like a slow-burning fire. "She's still living well, while I've fallen this far?" He decided to follow her quietly, staying hidden in the shadows. The path led to a small house with a wooden fence and a green vegetable garden in front. From afar, he saw a well-dressed man, Hai, approach with a calm smile, carrying a small bag. They talked, laughed softly, and walked inside together. Sun's chest tightened. jealousy, anger, and pain fused into one. Who is he? Why is he with my Tusan? His fists clenched so tightly that his nails cut into his skin, drawing blood. He hid behind a bamboo bush, eyes blazing as he watched every gesture, Hai's tender look, Tusan's warm smile, the way Hai gently helped her carry the basket. Each moment stabbed at Sun's heart like a knife. When he saw the two of them standing together on the porch, talking softly, Sun couldn't bear it anymore. He stepped out of hiding, his voice hoarse with alcohol and fury. Tusan. You live here now? Who the hell is he? Tusan startled, turning around, her face froze in disbelief. It was Sun, the man she thought she'd never see again. Why are you here? She stammered, clutching the hem of her blouse. Hai took a step forward, his voice calm but firm. Who are you? Why are you following her? Sun's tone turned harsh. I'm her husband. The man you people took everything from. The air turned heavy, tension thick as glass. Tusan stood between them, the painful past on one side, the gentle present on the other. The wind blew through, scattering dry leaves like an omen of an approaching storm. You're wrong, Sun, Tusan said, her voice steady but low. The person who made you lose everything wasn't anyone else, it was you. Sun froze, eyes widening with shock and bitterness. Hai calmly reached out, pulling Tusan behind him protectively. His gaze turned cold, though his tone stayed measured. I think you should leave. Don't make her afraid ever again. Sun looked at them, then laughed bitterly. So that's it. You found someone else. And me? I'm left with nothing but ashes. He turned away, stumbling down the street. The evening wind blew through, carrying the faint sound of a stifled sob that quickly disappeared into the fading light. After Tusan's words, Sun's face darkened. The regret and exhaustion in his eyes twisted into anger, jealousy, and wounded pride. He gritted his teeth, voice trembling with rage. What did you say? That I lost everything because of me? No. It was because you left. You betrayed me. You destroyed my family. Tusan shook her head, her voice calm but unwavering. Stop lying to yourself, Sun. I never betrayed anyone. You and your mother believed outsiders, humiliated me, threw me out. Now what more do you want from me? Sun let out a broken laugh, bitter, mocking, laced with alcohol and pain. What do I want? I want you to come home. You're my wife. You have to come back and serve my family again, do you hear me? He lunged forward, grabbing her arm violently and yanking her toward him. Tusan cried out in pain, her basket fell, vegetables spilling across the tiled floor. Let me go, Sun. You have no right over me anymore. She struggled, tears glistening in her eyes, but her gaze was firm now, no longer the fragile woman she once was. I've endured enough. I won't go back, not even one step. Sun roared, his face flushed red. You think you're too good for me now? That being with him makes you better? You forgot your past already? He raised his hand, ready to drag her away by force. Hai couldn't stand still any longer. He rushed forward, grabbing Sun's wrist tightly, his voice deep and firm. That's enough. You have no right to touch her. Sun jerked his arm free and shouted. Get out of the way. This is between me and my wife. Hai met his eyes, his gaze cold and unyielding as steel. No. You lost the right to call her your wife long ago. If you keep this up, I'll call the police. At the word police, Sun froze. The alcohol still clouded his head, but a flicker of reason returned. He glanced around, a few neighbors were peeking from their doors. Embarrassment and rage burned in his chest. He glared at Tusan, voice trembling. "You'll regret this. You think he really loves you?" Hai pulled out his phone and pressed a number. "I suggest you leave before I make the call." Sun looked at the two of them, jealousy and hatred burning in his eyes, then slowly lowered his hand. He tilted his head, forcing a bitter laugh, his voice hoarse. "Fine. Stay with him then. But remember this, you'll never escape my shadow." With that, he turned and staggered away, muttering curses that faded into the wind. The last light of the day painted the street in a dull red hue as his figure disappeared. Tusan stood motionless, her hands trembling. Before she could gather herself, Hai stepped closer and gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "It's over now. I'm here." Hearing his voice, she broke down in tears, not of fear, but of release. She wept for all the years of pain, for the woman once cast aside, for the marriage that had long since died. Hai softly wiped her tears, his voice low and warm. "You don't have to carry that past anymore. From today on, let me protect you." Through her tears, Tusan smiled faintly. "Thank you, for showing up when I needed you most." In the distance, cicadas sang in the twilight, their song like a farewell to a painful chapter, and a gentle welcome to a new one, where love was no longer suffering, but healing. That night, the sky threatened rain. In a shabby roadside bar, Sun sat alone, an empty bottle beside him, eyes bloodshot. Music thumped in the background, mixed with drunken laughter, but he heard none of it, only the echo of Tusan's gentle smile beside Hai in the sunset. She dared to leave me, and now she dares to smile with another man? He slammed his fist on the table, shattering a bottle to the floor. Staggering to his feet, he stumbled outside, his mind spinning. Jealousy and fury twisted into madness. Then, a thought struck him, the mountain of debt he still owed, and an evil idea began to take shape. "If I have to suffer, then she'll suffer with me." Late that night, Sun went to an old warehouse by the riverside, the usual haunt of his creditor and his men. The rusty door screeched open. The tattooed man inside looked up with a cold stare. "You again? Out of money already? You know your deadline's long past." Sun gave a crooked grin, his voice rasping. I have a way for you to get your money back, double, even." The creditor narrowed his eyes. "I'm listening." Sun took a deep breath, smirking. "I'm not officially divorced yet. By law, she's still my wife. And she's living with a rich guy now. If you want your money, go to her. She'll pay, because that rich boyfriend of hers won't let her be humiliated." The man was silent for a few seconds, then burst out laughing. "Huh. Clever bastard. So your ex has a rich lover, huh? Easy enough. Give me her address." Sun pulled out a crumpled scrap of paper and scribbled Tusan's address, his hand trembling but his eyes burning with spite. "Just pressure her hard. She'll panic, and that man will pay to protect her. They'll both pay the price." The creditor took the note, smirking as he gestured to his men. "Tomorrow, 8 a.m. Go to this address. Say her husband owes us. The wife pays. Got it?" "Got it, boss," one of the thugs grinned darkly. When Sun stepped out of the warehouse, the sky was pitch black. Rain began to fall, cold and heavy, striking his face. He walked into the wind, smiling bitterly as rain mixed with his tears. "If I've lost everything, she won't have peace either." He knew it was cruel, wrong, but hatred had already consumed him. Inside him, nothing remained but the darkness of jealousy and the bitterness of failure. Meanwhile, in the small house, Tusan had no idea what was coming. That evening, she dined with Hoai and his mother under the soft glow of a warm lamp. She smiled as she spoke about the market, about the fresh vegetables her customers loved. Hoai listened quietly, eyes filled with tenderness. For a moment, everything seemed peaceful. But outside, a storm was silently gathering.
Xin chào mọi người, rất vui được gặp lại mọi người trong video của mình. Chúc mọi người có một ngày mới vui vẻ và hạnh phúc. Hiện tại câu chuyện lý Tiểu San của mình đã đi được một đoạn khá dài. Và video ngày hôm nay đã nói lên rằng Sơn, chồng cũ của Tiểu San, không hề yêu Tiểu San, mà anh ta cũng chẳng hề hối hận sau khi đã gây ra những tổn thương cho Tiểu San. Thậm chí anh ta còn tàn nhẫn gán hết toàn bộ số nợ của mình cho Tiểu San để bắt Tiểu San gánh cho mình, liệu rằng Tiểu San sẽ phải đối diện với những khó khăn thử thách phía trước như thế nào. Tên chủ nợ sẽ tìm đến Tiểu San và đòi nợ làm sao thì mời mọi người đón xem ở video tiếp theo. Cảm ơn mọi người đã xem hết video hôm nay. Hẹn mọi người ở video lần sau nha. Chào, hẹn gặp lại mọi người ở video sau.